Gary.
Andy.
How are you doing, sir?
I won't tell you. Sets me off.
Well, we're back, Gary. We're back. And
we're delighted to be back.
Thanks to everyone for joining in this week and also for bearing with us, because last week we weren't here, Gary. Were we, Gary?
No. Last week was our first break, Andy. Not one we wanted to take, unfortunately. I needed a wee bit of time off. Not COVID related, although I've got to say the damn thing's having a real impact on my life. My dad's in hospital at the moment, sadly, and due to the COVID situation, there's no visiting. I've got to say how difficult that is and intolerable that is for me and my family. So last week's show, suffice to say, I wasn't in the mood to come on dressed up. Just wasn't right, and I didn't want to pretend everything was okay. I needed a wee bit of time out.
Aye, and that's, you know what, Gary, that's totally understandable. Last week was obviously due to be a Halloween special, but everyone knows family first. Simple as that, Gary. And when your dad's taken not well and taken into hospital, family need to be together, and that's exactly what you've done, Gary. So I know everyone that's watching, and certainly I do as well, Gary, sends nothing but positive thoughts. Hope your dad is on the mend. And yeah, it's a tough time with the hospital and COVID, isn't it, Gary? Because you just can't get to see those that you need to see right now, do you?
No, it's a layer of stress that just gets added, and the effect this is having wider in society now, you don't realise until it hits home. And we've really got to be thankful for everyone that works in the NHS and the wider support staff. They're doing a tremendous job, Andy, under the most difficult of circumstances. I've learned it firsthand in the past 10, 12 days just how important they are in intervening in people's lives. And it's really tough. It's really tough, Andy. It's really difficult, but we are where we are.
We are where we are, Gary, and I think when these things kind of come home to us, when you've got a loved one, a close member of your family up in hospital, and you can't get to see them because of COVID, that's very real. It's an impact on the people who are suffering from COVID, but obviously everyone else that's in hospital, friends and family can't get to see their loved ones, and that's a big part of the recovery process. But so I think that is clearly it's something that we're all having to contend with, but also what it does do, I guess, is give you an insight into the amazing work that our NHS staff and all of the people associated to healthcare and hospitals are doing at this current moment. They are absolute heroes, and we'll be talking about heroes a little bit later on in the show, Gary, but we just can't thank those staff enough. And I hear someone else might be in hospital, Gary, that you get a wee message from one of the friends of the show.
Aye, I don't know if it's all right to say or if he's tuning in, but Brian Maguire's not very well just now, and he's hopefully waving at us from his sickbed. So get well soon, Brian.
Get well soon, Brian. I hope you're on the mend soon enough. So, but as you said, Gary, earlier on when we were talking about this, the show must go on, and it's great to see so many of you all tuning in tonight. I'll try and get a few of the messages up. John, as usual, good to see you, John. Where would we be without Jackie?
Hey, Jackie.
Norma's on. Some great messages coming in, and it's good to know that we were missed, Jackie. And we know that we're the highlight of your Wednesday night, Jackie. So it's good to know that we were missed, and lots of well wishing for your father and Gary as well. So I'll put them up, and hopefully those messages and all that positivity and speedy recovery, it's all really important. So.
And I think what I would say, Andy, the show doesn't need to go on. We're not professionals at this, and I can't hide behind my emotions, and so it's really tough. And if we were professionals, the show must go on, but we're not. So we had a break. It was needed. Getting on with things. I've been trying to go on with things as normal, Andy, as best I can. Just getting into work and getting on with business. I've been working, and a few things have still caught my eye.
Well, indeed. So what's been catching your eye this week? Because we've got a few things to cover, Gary.
Aye, it's good to have get right into have a chat now. I missed last week's show, Andy. We were all geared up for it as well.
We were. But we'll talk about what we've got planned coming up. Hold on, my cup of tea's just arrived, Gary. Hold on. Right, so
I'll get mine later, Andy. I'll get mine later. I'm all garlic bread just now.
Before coming on, so if it's just the sausage casserole, if I burp, Gary. So what caught your eye this week, Gary?
Right, first thing it's caught my eye, Andy, which I think is really pretty positive. The TA building. I've been passing by it every day, going back down to the office.
Yeah,
and I knew there was a wee bit of teething trouble with the TA, but I think the TA went back up for planning permission. To turn it into student flats.
Yep.
And I mean, and that's a fantastic image, a really fantastic image.
Yep.
And I believe that it's been approved.
Good stuff.
There's Brian there. There's Brian messaged in.
Oh, has he? Right,
hope you're well, Brian, mate. Hope you're well, pal. Hope you're okay.
Hold on, if I take that off and then I can come back. Struggling, Brian. We hope you're on the mend soon. So you take care of yourself. So,
yeah.
TA.
There's Eddie confirmed. So all those lovely councillors have approved the TA building. So it's a light at the end of the tunnel there for the TA building and that end of the town.
Absolutely.
It's going to be transformed. It's going to be magnificent. So post-COVID, all that scaffolding, all the work that will get done in behind that, Andy, it's going to look really, really smart.
Yeah.
I just hope they can do credit to it, and the facade, it's going to be really good.
Well, they're going to, from what I can see, they're going to bring back the facade as good as they possibly can, reinstate the roof that was very sadly torched, and student accommodation at the back. So that allows the business model to stack up, because that's going to take an awful lot. I've been in that building. I'm sure some other folk have been as well, and it's in a really bad state of disrepair. And the actual cost just to get it up to a level that it makes a viable opportunity for someone. It's in private ownership, and it's great that it's not going to be sitting there for any longer. So good to see it back. And
I've never been in it, Andy. I've just passed by it a lot, but never been in it. I'd have liked to have seen it in its finery and it operating as a great building. But great news, smashing news.
Absolutely, no, it's fantastic, smashing news indeed. What else, Gary? You sent me a few pictures. I want to make sure I get them in the right order.
Well, of course, we've been talking about Sean Connery a few weeks ago, and he came up in the quiz, and it's just what a life the man's had, and it's so tragic. Obviously, the big Sean passed away this week, and all the tributes and all the films he's been in, and all the pictures and all the quotes and all the wee movie bits that I've been watching. What a life that man's had.
What a life, and a huge amount of respect. There was a brilliant. I think he was getting accepted into the Fellowship of the BAFTAs, and it was Billy Connolly. And it was a little bit of a roast, but of course we all know as many roles as Sean Connery has had, from James Bond to the Untouchables. He had one role that I think was his career highlight, Gary, and we all know what that is, don't we?
Yeah, his career highlight. How we managed to make this happen, but Sean Connery opening the Piazza at the height of his fame, Andy. I mean, not that he was never. He was probably one of these guys that had a level of fame that was just consistent. So he was always at that level. But this is in the middle of his Bond days. James Bond, Sean Connery opens up Paisley Piazza.
Paisley Piazza.
Yes. A fantastic advocate for Scotland and everything Scottish. I read a quote during the weekend, and it's I don't want to disrespect anyone or our English cousins, but
Aye.
he says, I'm a Scotsman. I'll always be a Scotsman. I've never been an Englishman, and I will never be an Englishman.
Yeah.
It's just he oozed the pride of his country, and I think it was probably not very well known about a lot of the legacy that he left behind and the money that he gave unseen.
Yeah.
I read about a guy today, Andy, that I think it was $1.5 million he gave to a fund, and this guy got a bursary and got him to travel and to become the person that he is today. So he might have stayed in the Bahamas. I'm pretty sure he paid his tax, but if he didn't, then he didn't. A lot of folk worse than Sean Connery don't pay their taxes, but he gave in other ways. And
you're right, he did stay in the Bahamas, but just on that picture, Gary, this was taken, in the 60s at some point?
70s, Andy.
70s, Gary. So you've got to think that some of those wee folk in there are probably still here. And it'd be great to hear from anyone that was in that picture and point yourself out. It'd be fantastic to hear some of the stories of that. And
I think Lynn actually has got it spot on.
Go on. God
damn, he was a handsome man. Oh, wasn't he just? And every role, he played a Russian submarine commander as a Scottish guy.
Yeah.
Isn't that brilliant?
Get off my submarine.
Get off my ship.
This is going to be full of really dodgy Sean Connery impressions now. We better move on, Gary. Now, I know we're going to talk about something that's happening right now on the other side of the pond, but before we do, a couple of things caught my eye this week, Gary.
Oh, yes, Andy.
I was on Facebook earlier on, and one of them we kind of talked about, Gary. This was on, I'm in quite a few of the groups, and they're all brilliant. I think the first one was maybe Paisley and Proud, and it was Hannah Hardy. 80 patients being treated for COVID. It's not going away, folks.
No, it's not going away.
That's a big number, and that's somebody's mum, dad, brother, sister, wife, auntie, uncle, granny. You can't deny it. That stuff's happening. Please, do everything that's being asked. Try and socially isolate. Keep your distance. Wash your hands. Avoid crowds, and wear a mask. Even if you think it doesn't do anything, just do it for the sake of those folk that might end up in hospital. For other people, not for yourself. This is not about you. This is about other people. Do it for other people. This is a test of your humanity to other folk. Please, please, please. These folk are in a serious condition. We've heard that Brian's really struggling. Brian's our friend. Let's just do it for other people, please.
Don't be a tube.
Don't be a tube. A bit of positivity in the middle there, Gary. The Renfrewshire Christmas Toy Bank, which we had on the show a few weeks ago, Gary.
Yeah, I like that, Andy. I think we should adopt them in the lead up. I think we should go the extra mile for the toy bank.
We should. So let's just do that. It's great to hear 183 referrals already, and you can see their container is starting to fill up with gifts and toys that will really, really bring a little bit of happiness and joy to so many folk in Paisley and in our communities. So if you can support Renfrewshire Christmas Toy Bank, please do whatever you can. And you can see that they're grateful. And you can see that they're grateful for the volunteers. That's just a smashing organisation that work hard in our community. So let's support them as best as we possibly can.
Andy, I've got an idea. Actually, we'll catch up afterwards.
Right, we'll do that, Gary. And
the
last one was James Oakes had posted this one up, and it's high altitude workers.
Oh, God's sake! Was that today? Is that the cranes are up today? I seen them when I was coming out of my office.
You wouldn't get me up there, Gary.
Oh no, goodness! What are they doing?
They're doing some work on the cladding or ducts or piping or something like that. But my goodness, these
the ducks up there.
Ducks.
That's what you said.
Oh, those kind of ducks, Gary.
Oh no.
So that caught my eye, Gary. But I will take that image off because you also, before we crack on with our guests,
Yes,
we've got some smashing guests on tonight, folks. But before we do crack on, we will. I've just noticed one of our guests had disappeared. I know we're having tech problems. Hopefully, they can join us back in again, or else the other guest is going to have to do all the heavy lifting.
Somebody else can come in. We'll get somebody else in. I'll see what sort of what background noise I've got here.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's saying, I think we've lost a guest, Andy.
Right, we'll see what we can do. But I've got some videos for that other guest, so we can at least talk.
We can still do some stuff.
A video. We'll make it up as we go along, folks. But this one, Gary.
I can't deny the American election has caught my eye last night and today. And what I want to be able to say to people is there is hope. There is hope. No matter what way this lands, I am super, super impressed with this lady. And I predict one day Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will be American president. She is super impressive, Andy.
Yeah. I think you're right. I saw a program that she was interviewed on and how she got into her seat, and she is absolutely tenacious, super intelligent, really well principled, doesn't let anyone off the hook. And I think you're right. She's a brilliant individual. And, when you look at what's currently sitting in the hot seat over in the White House and you compare from class, intelligence, capability and compassion, my goodness, there's a stark contrast.
Oh, she cares, Andy. She talks about people. She cares about people. And if I've learned anything over the past few years about life and politics, she cares about the people around about her. And I think she'll be a fantastic president of the United States of America.
She would be great. And just on that, I was just Joe Biden has been noted as securing, I think it was Wisconsin, one of the.
Let's get 10 thingamajiggeries for the electrical thing, my Bob.
Aye, what exactly, Gary? So he's nudged ahead. Joe Biden is nudged ahead, and I'll be very honest, and I don't talk about UK politics that often.
No.
But I'm okay to talk about American politics, but I can't understand the appeal of Donald Trump. And he's now on Twitter complaining. We all know that Donald Trump likes a good tweet, and he's complaining that he's currently ahead in some polls, and they have the audacity to continue to be counting votes, Gary.
It's unbelievable. The votes that you posted in because there's a pandemic.
Exactly. They're still counting the votes. How dare they count the votes when Donald Trump's in the lead?
And they're all for the other guy. It's as if it's got Trump, the FUD, no, Joe Biden, aye. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
My goodness. Well, listen, Gary, I noticed that our guest has managed to get another 50p in the Wi-Fi meter and has joined us. So I think without further ado, Gary, we're going to crack on with the show and see.
We're going to try. Anyway, we're not bringing a guest on yet. Have
we not? Have I missed something?
No, because there's stuff that we're talking about before a guest.
Oh, go on then, Gary. Go on.
Because this week's about fireworks and bonfires and stuff.
Oh, it is.
Oh, jeez, Andy, I'm caught you in a hop there. So of course, there's no fireworks this year, and the council firework thing is up behind the Abbey is spectacular. It's magnificent, and we've not got it this year because of the COVID situation we're in. But here's some images.
Not only can I show you some images, Gary,
I can buy a video.
I can play a video as well.
Okay, straight into it, Andy. There we go.
So
Look at that.
These are the images that we've got, which, I mean, folks, we're all missing it. When I was putting these together earlier on, I was looking at them. I thought, my goodness, doesn't Paisley look fantastic? Look at the Abbey. Look at the fireworks.
Look what we're missing.
Well, you sent me that one through, Gary.
Yeah.
Is that Alistair Morrison?
It might be.
I didn't know he played the bagpipes, Gary.
It might be. Alistair Morrison, head of Regen and Fiery Pipes.
Maybe, and Fiery Pipes. So, but I do have a this one. So hopefully, folks, this will work.
What you
And
got?
let me get rid of that.
Just as well I'm here, Andy.
You keep me right, Gary, and I'm going to put that full screen because I'm a technical wizard. And enjoy this, folks. Hopefully, you've got the audio as well. How fantastic was that?
That's brilliant. Where'd you get that from?
That was off YouTube.
Oh, it's amazing, Andy, what you can get when you go to YouTube. I went to the council and said, "You have any videos of the fireworks?" Yeah, we don't have any of them.
Well, that was on the council website. So I managed to get it from there.
That's grand.
But I had to put different audio on, Gary.
Because of the police. We'll talk about the police in a minute. Maybe ask one of our guests later about that. So are we going to take a chance and bring a guest on?
Let's see if we can bring our first guest on. So let me just get that last one out of the way, and I'm going to click the button, and hopefully John will appear.
Yeah.
Hi,
John.
John. Whoa.
Oh, I did start in the office, but now I've moved home so that I can get access.
We see you called in some technical support there, John, with the rest of the family.
Well, that's one word for it.
What happened, John?
I don't know. I don't know, Gary. I tried through my phone, and obviously initially tried through the service computer, but there was an issue.
Loud and clear now, John. Great to see you on the show. You're
Thanks
live to the nation.
Yes.
And for those who don't know you and who are just tuning in tonight to see who this guy John Paul is, do you want to introduce yourself to the nation, John?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I'm a Paisley man, born and bred, but I'm the local area liaison officer representing the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, covering mainly the Renfrewshire area, and it's a great privilege to be doing that. I've been in the service now nearly 30 years, and it's a fabulous job, and I just feel that myself and my colleagues put a lot of assistance into the community at large, particularly each local community.
Yeah. You started out in Gordon Street, John, didn't you, in the old fire station?
No, I'm not that old. I'm not that old. I might look at it, I'm not that old.
And John, it's not just about firefighting, because when you think of the fire services, it's not just about that. The job's got a lot more to it, hasn't it?
Well, that's where the fire and rescue part of the service comes in. I mean, there's nothing that we don't do, particularly in the 21st century fire service. We're turning, we're getting special skills revolving around safety in and around water, people stuck up buildings or down hills or people getting cut out of cars. The Fire and Rescue Service is a over-encompassing organisation which we hopefully help people.
And do you recover cats, John?
No, that's what the SSPCA are for. we will have asked for. I've only ever assisted a cat once in my career, so yeah,
we heard.
Yes.
Yes, somebody a wee birdie tell us.
A wee birdie.
Anyway,
we've been getting fed storylines, Gary.
I know it's unfair. It's unfair to spring that on you, John. It's really unfair. I'm sorry about that.
No.
That's a banter bit kicking in.
And John, obviously, I mean, we're all in this kind of COVID situation, and I guess, for you and for your colleagues at Scotland Fire and Rescue, it's been equally as challenging. What have been some of the unique complexities of that, John?
Well, amongst others, where do we start? The COVID it's a big sea change for everybody, and more especially ourselves, because most importantly, we need to make sure that we remain resilient at all times. So that the station at Paisley, the station at Renfrew, all over the country needs to be manned. So the strict COVID guidelines have been adhered to by all officers to ensure that there is 24/7, 365 days a week cover for the members of the Scottish public.
And I understand that from a close-knit thing and being in a bubble, but is the general situation with firefighting and protecting the public different during that period as well?
Well, it has. I mean, my job in particular, along with my team, we're prevention and protection. So normally, I'll give you an example. In the lead up to Guy Fawkes Night, we'd have been going to all the schools throughout the area, talk to the pupils, talk to the staff, talk to young groups within Renfrewshire. That's not been afforded to us, so we've had to think of a new way of getting the message across. And we've done it remotely, and it seems to have been reasonably successful. Obviously, tomorrow night will tell the full tale, but we shall wait and see. But yeah, that's why a challenge is a challenge for a reason. It's how we bounce back, it's how we react to it. It's how we move on from it, how we get to a place of safety. And for want of a better word, we want to look after ourselves so that we don't put other people at risks, and put themselves at risk as well by our behaviour.
Aye, and you're absolutely right, John. I mean, we got your cell phone tonight because obviously tomorrow is bonfire night, 5th of November. Probably, I would imagine, one of the kind of busiest times of the year for you. Lots of fires, lots of fireworks. Some of them are well controlled and sensible, but other, firework BAMs, setting fireworks off at 1:30 in the morning, or setting bonfires that are out of control, or chucking in materials that are explosive. I mean, you've got your work cut out for you on bonfire night.
Well, I think especially this year, it's into the unknown for everybody. Obviously, the restrictions don't just appear in the home, but they appear out of home. All the organised displays have been cancelled, quite rightly so, for people's safety. And so we're obviously paying particular attention, and hopefully people do heed it. Nothing apart from the fact that fireworks do present a clear and present danger, if they're misused, not properly handled, or not bought from the correct retailer. When we're trying to reduce the amount of people who are socially distancing between themselves, we want to make sure that, if you're wanting to have a wee fireworks display in your garden, that's all very well and good, but make sure that you're wearing the appropriate clothing, you're wearing the properly purchased fireworks, and that you dispose of them appropriately so that they don't injure yourself, injure people you care and love for, or damaged property, and that that's the message we're trying to get across. And tomorrow night it'll be a test for all my colleagues throughout the country.
Yeah. I mean it's changed days as well, John. I remember back when I was younger, a youth, and up the back of Thrushcraigs there was a big bonfire. You used to go from far and wide to grab anything that could be put on a bonfire. And so with the couches, it would be doors. You'd steal doors off the closes, and you'd put them on the bonfire. And then, of course, everybody would gather round, and they'd set the bonfire off. And I remember it really distinctly. The bonfires in our area stopped quite suddenly.
Yeah,
because a young lassie fell on the embers. It was one of them, and it was almost did someone just fall in that fire?
Yeah.
So the stuff kind of just stopped. I mean, I'm interested back in when you were growing up, and Andy and yourself. Where were your bonfires, and did you have them up the back of the scheme or where you lived?
I generally don't remember bonfires, to be brutally honest with you, Gary. But can I just say one thing with regards to, you're mentioning, particularly tomorrow night and tonight as well, because I hear fireworks outside my house just now. But they're particularly now that we've got COVID, we've got a lot of people who are maybe not been out much, and elderly, the vulnerable, animals. It's all very well letting off fireworks or setting bonfires, etc. But it's the impact that it has on the greater community, and there's particularly just now. That's something that we're trying to hammer home, that think of others before you start doing like some of the stupid actions that some people hopefully don't get up to but might get up to. Just think of the people that really do need a bit of care and help in this.
Like we used to. It seems to be a wee bit more civilised now, John, I think. Andy, where was your bonfire?
Well, I remember all my bonfire nights really, really clearly. I'm best buddies with a guy that stayed up near Dyke Bar Hospital, and as you know, up there, you're kind of surrounded by fields. So the big field at the back of Stevie's house, we used to start building the bonfire, weeks in advance, and we'd be out, and Stephen's family would be out, and they'd be getting trees that had fallen down and branches, whatever it was, old sofas, maybe. I can't remember stealing any doors, mind you, Gary.
No, me. Did I say that? Was
it? Well,
big boy did it and ran away, but we had a cracking big bonfire. I used to remember going up there, and it was brilliant. I even remember my pal's mother would make up baked potatoes and cook them in the bonfire.
And a bit of foil down the bottom.
Baked potatoes in the tin foil, straight in the fire.
With a crispy skin.
Crispy skin. Even a bit of earth on it, John. See if you've still got a bit of dirt on it.
Oh, aye, absolutely. It was great. You would stay there, you get a cracking heat off and stuff like that. But you're right, John. I mean, fireworks have been, back then, you lit a bonfire. Nobody had fireworks apart from the official displays. But now you can buy them in Morrison's or whatever, and, any kind of sort of store. Yeah. And that puts it into everybody's hands. And they can be getting set off at all times of days. The firework bombs, as I call them, usually early hours of the morning. What can we do about that?
I'm not trying to. Your next guest, they'll probably have a better tab on it as well. But it has a greater impact in your life. Playing with fireworks, the age you should be purchasing fireworks, the age that you should be using fireworks, and the impact it's got on your neighbours or your friends, etc. And more importantly, some of the horrific injuries that I've certainly seen in my colleagues up and down the country I've seen.
Oh, aye. And just touching on that, there are silly mistakes that you can make with fireworks and bonfire night. And it's not just about bonfire night, but just fire in general. What are some of the ones to just kind of watch out for, John?
Regards to bonfires or
bonfires and fireworks for tomorrow night.
If tomorrow night folk think I'd quite like to have a wee bonfire. Well, make sure that it's controlled by responsible adults. Make sure you're keeping a control of the surroundings, not too close to buildings. It's I mean there is certain legislation which limits the size of a bonfire, which should be a limited size of a bonfire. If you're going to use fireworks, make sure it's purchased from a reputable dealer, that you're wearing the appropriate clothing, you're wearing gloves. When they do go out, make sure that they're smothered in sand or water. If a firework doesn't go off, don't go and approach it and think, what's happening here? This isn't working, because the next minute it could quite possibly explode into your face and your body, and you might receive life-changing injuries.
Yep, and that happens. It does happen.
It does. Just like that wee lassie that fell on the bonfire up the back of Thrushcraigs. I mean, she must have, never mind getting a fright, she must have damaged herself because she fell on the embers. I mean, that's horrific, really horrific.
I know.
So I mean, human impact is one thing, John, but of course the impact on property and belongings is another thing. You must have seen some horrendous things in your time, and of course that leads to the vicious circle of human impact, property to human impact again.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been fortunate enough. I've worked in a number of stations throughout away up the city, Glasgow, and the impact on people's lives, their livelihood, people's belongings. It's not a nice thing. It's not a nice thing, and that is why we are getting there. You know, house fires are going down, but we are trying to strive. My department and the rest of the firefighters throughout, we're trying to strive to make sure that people do have working smoke alarms in the house, get a home fire safety check, etc. You know, if they've got any questions, don't be scared to just phone up the fire station, the nearest fire station.
Yeah,
we'll only be too happy to answer any questions that you have. But you know, I always look in the fire service, and I have been very, very proud to be a firefighter all my career. Well, most of my career. But we are the emergency service, like the others, that you don't ever wish to have to call. You know, like that insurance policy that you don't ever want to be able to utilise. You know, nothing would please me better than tomorrow night the crews at Paisley didn't turn a wheel. You know, a really quiet night. I know that's not really going to happen, but you know, that would be something that would be we'd see that as a success story. You know, it means that nobody's property, nobody's lives, nobody's family are put in jeopardy by the actions of others.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And you know, yourself and the rest of the crew and all the emergency services that look after us, you know, it's, you know, we hope that you never have to face the danger, but you're there, you're trained, you're experienced in this type of stuff, and you are there at a phone call away, and we know that you'll race to anyone's help. But one of the things that I've always kind of scratched my head at, and somebody's actually asked this question, is attacks on firefighters with fireworks on the rise, or just general attacks. Why would anyone in the right mind want to attack the emergency services? But it does happen, John. Is that a big problem?
It still exists. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. It does still exist. However, through education, through engagement, through partnership working, and it's an old cliche. It really is an old cliche. But through working with the police, you know, the local authorities, local youth groups throughout the area, we have managed to drive that down. But you know, and it is just through. And I think a lot of people are starting to, the pennies starting to drop, and they're realising, you know, for instance, I'll quote a bit tomorrow night, sorry, a bonfire in Gallaghill, and we sent the appliances away to it. There could be a house fire in my grand's house in Oxbar. It means that appliances have got to come from further afield, so people need to, people are starting to take cognizance of their actions, and they know that, you know, fire's not for playing with, and certainly being obtrusive to members of the emergency service, police, fire, ambulance, doesn't matter who. We're here to help. You know, we're here to offer that golden hand that we want to help people. We're not there to obstruct people. We're there to assist people.
Yeah,
that's great, John. It's a great message to finish on in this section of the show. I know we've got a wee video coming up, but our thanks for Paisley Community Trust and all of Paisley and Renfrewshire community to all of the work that you do and the fire service and all the other services. I really appreciate it, John. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much, Andy. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks,
for
John.
being with me.
That's okay.
Care. Thanks again.
Thanks, John.
Oh, we're really so thankful for those folk that look after us. Now, Gary, I have the potential of 2 videos. I've got the one that was in that PowerPoint presentation, so just checking that's the one you want to go with.
You want to play that one? Yeah.
I've got it ready to go, Gary. I just need to... Oh, hold on. Click the wrong button here. But, I think obviously a lot of folk have mentioned, it's not just tomorrow night, but it's all year round, Gary, that we are looked after by all our emergency services. So let me get this up. And
absolutely, it's a few minutes long. This, bear with us, but it's well worth seeing this video just to hit home the message.
Absolutely, and that should be on my screen. And here we go.
What's going on?
Okay, Danny, my name's Dave. I'm one of the doctors here. I'm going to be looking after you. So don't want you to worry. What we're going to do is we're just going to put an oxygen mask on and we're going to cut this chunker off and attach some leads. Okay, and then we're going to give you something for the pain. Okay, might feel this little cool on your skin, Danny. Don't be worried.
Pop this mask over your face, Danny. Keep it nice and cool.
What happened? See you later, Mum.
Bye, love. Be careful.
I will.
Mum, why doesn't he want to come to the park with us and watch the fireworks?
He's a big lad now, Liv. He's at that age where he wants to be with his friends. He's sensible and they're a good bunch. Don't worry, we'll have a good time too.
We're just going to. Oh, yeah. Look for that, James. Yeah, that was there. Quick, get on. Go on, get him there.
What's going on there? Go ahead, Emma.
Ops from Mike 12 Papa 1. The appliance has been hit by a firework. Windscreen has been damaged and is now unable to proceed to incident. Request another appliance to be dispatched.
You were bigger lads, maybe 16, 17. I only caught it from something.
Just because it's November the 5th, some of them think they can do what they want, but guess what, they can't. CCTV around here is fantastic. We'll catch them.
That's really stupid, then. He could have been on the way to save someone's life.
I know, yeah.
Anyway, let's go to the park. We can cut through the woods.
Where are we going?
Okay.
Hey, lad. Lad.
Yeah.
Give me a minute, lad. Come here, lad. Don't worry about it, honestly.
Oh, we have to go on.
Alright, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't say quick, phone now, bud.
Ambulance! Quick! You okay, Tony? We'll be there soon.
Okay, Danny, you're in the hospital now, you're safe. Okay, Danny, you're just going up a little bit. Let's switch him over onto the oxygen.
Danny, put your top off, okay? So we can have a little look here and see if you've got any burns on your chest.
They've said you're going to need skin grafts. It's really going to help with the scarring.
Wish it never happened.
It's okay, love.
Wow, very powerful message.
Yeah, that's Andy. Just Andy, just message from just don't be a tube doesn't go far enough, Andy. Just be really careful. Just
I was thinking the exact same thing, Gary, as I was watching that. I was thinking our "Don't Be a Tube" message stands for people being stupid with fire and fireworks, and particularly hearing from John and the work that the fire services do on our behalf to keep us safe. We just can't be cautious enough. You know, we need to be really thankful for them, really sensible and playing with fire, and try not put our people, our fire services and staff and everyone else in the front line of danger. So simple message, folks, be safe for tomorrow night.
yeah, but in the times when stay safe is the message, that's a very particular stay safe, and don't mess with fire. So,
absolutely, Gary.
Andy, that was great. Great we get John and his tech to work there, and we got him on because really knowledgeable guy, cracking guy, John, and great to hear from him about the fire service and everything that they do, and how they protect us. And in another line of duty, protect us community stroke thing, in and around the town. And our next guest has been waiting patiently to come on the show. So PC Nikki Glasgow is waiting there to come on.
Are you there, Nikki? Right now?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Nikki.
Nikki Glasgow. And folks, you did hear that right. I know it's a Paisley community chat show, but PC Nikki's surname is Glasgow. Please do not hold it against her. She married into it. Is that right, Nikki?
Yep, that's right.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's good to see you on the. It's good to see you on the show, Nikki. And like Paul, before you, there'll be people wondering who you are, what you do. So you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, thanks very much for having me, guys. So my name's PC Nikki Glasgow. I work out of Paisley Park Police Office in Paisley. I'm part of the community policing team here, and I cover the Shortwoods area of Paisley, which is Beat 1. Part of my role is getting out there, introducing myself to all the local partnership agencies, as well as the schools, and just getting in about the community and meeting all the residents and making your face familiar. It's always good to get into all the local agencies and get yourself known, really.
Yeah, so you're talking about Beat 1 there, Nikki. Where in the map is Beat 1?
Shortwoods. So,
right, so you've got some maps behind you there. Where are you on that?
So I am over here.
Yeah, is that the whole of Paisley behind you?
Yes, it is. Yep.
I didn't realise we were so linear.
That's all the beats that you cover, Nikki. And you know, this is community chat show. Community is so important to us, and I guess there's a community for community policing, it's a really vital service that you provide. And tell us a wee bit more about your role, and tell us a wee bit more about what that involves, Nikki, in terms of being out there and in the communities and some of the things that you might get involved in.
Well, we get involved in schools a lot. We go in and do various different topics in schools, whether it be bullying, chats with the kids, internet safety, hate crime. We also attend at like your local kind of big gala days, represent the police there, so that we've got that community engagement with the kids as well, the local kids. We do work along with the Renfrewshire youth team as well. If there's maybe problems within our beat areas, we'll create like an action plan so that we can go into that beat area and target the problems that are occurring. We also attend at the community council meetings. Should there be any issues that arise from the residents, we can take that on and hopefully tackle it.
So see the community policing, Nikki, now is it completely different from when they used to see the police out in the scheme, and it was, pardon the phrase, it was the Bobby on the beat, and you always seen them out and about. Has it changed completely over the years?
Well, it did change, and we were basically attending at like response calls in the past. However, just 3 years ago, they rejigged the model, if you like, and it was to go back to the old way it used to be. Like the local beat officer, again, just so that you're getting to know everyone within your beat, and I feel that a familiar, friendly face to folk is always a good thing. When they are seeing the same face again. Star Project, I've just seen that comment flash up there. That's one that I cover.
You get your fans in tonight, that's for sure. And earlier comment there from John McIntyre praising the work that you and your team do. Now, I need to ask that particular question because we had a little bit of a confession earlier on this evening. So any of your sort of older colleagues, do they recall a spate of door thefts in the Thrush Craigs area maybe about 20 years or so ago, Nikki? Is that I think if that's an unsolved crime, if the case is still open on that one.
45 years ago,
I'll need to delve into the archive crime reports, see if we can get an accused now for that.
The evidence is missing though.
Went up in flame.
I think we had was it a confession that we had maybe live on Facebook?
Well,
just a bit of banter.
A bit of bands, but I think tonight is all about the sort of roles that we the emergency services play in Paisley, and particularly on fireworks or bonfire night tomorrow. And I guess from your point of view, that'll be a pretty busy time for you and your staff, and maybe come with a little bit additional danger. Would that be fair?
Yeah, we do have an operation running throughout the week. It's called Operation Moonbeam. That basically means that we've got a group of dedicated officers that will be out and about in the Paisley area, specifically for fireworks, within the area, trying to tackle antisocial behaviour, fireworks, that folk are maybe under the influence of alcohol using fireworks, so obviously that's very dangerous. So it's trying to prevent any serious injury and take that on. Yeah,
that's good to know that you are out and about doing that. We spoke to John earlier about the effects of COVID and the particular challenges of COVID, and of course you'll be going through that as well. Is there anything that you've noticed that you've had to adjust to? Or is there anything in the station and in around what you do and out in society that you have particularly that you've seen?
Yeah, well, we've had to make a lot of adjustments in the station to ensure that we're socially distanced where possible. We're having to wear masks coming into work and walking about with the corridors. I feel that it's had a huge impact on the community policing side. I'm not able to pop into the local projects. The local schools do all the talks that I'm used to doing. A lot of the things that we're having to deal with is over the phone and via email, and I prefer being kind of a face-to-face. So it is difficult. But we just got to work with it, and it's just about making sure that everyone's safe and everyone's keeping well.
Yeah, and sometimes we get messages from our viewer, Nikki, and we've got one of the best questions that's ever came up from one of our viewers. Maybe you want to flash it up, Andy. It's really quite an important question from Eddie. Councillor Eddie Devine's got a question there for you, Nikki.
His last question, Gary.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm
quite...
always wary that Councillor Devine sets us up every now and again.
I think it's a cracking question. It's very insightful of him. It just shows you his mindset.
Can I show you my mug?
Right,
You can see that?
Can you show it?
Hold it up. There you go.
Squad.
There you go, Eddie.
In BAM speak.
It's funny you asked that, Eddie. We actually have had one of the actors from Squad attend at the station, just to kind of get a wee feel for the place and ask some of the officers questions. But yeah, we do have a laugh about how sometimes things can be squad-like, but I'll not go into it.
That's another show entirely.
Was it, I say there, in terms of your actor that was at the station, was it Grado?
It wasn't Grado, no, it was Louise McCarthy.
Right.
So she's the CID officer in it. She's the one that couldn't understand the BAM talk.
The BAM talk.
Yeah.
And of course, Eddie's mentioned it as well. We all love Officer Karen. And that chap that comes in.
Bobby. Is it Bobby?
Oh, fantastic. Do you have the equivalent in where you are?
We had an equivalent to Ken Beattie.
Right.
But he's left the shift now, but it was the nicest cop ever. And that was his nickname, Ken Beattie.
Ken Beattie. And we've got a sensible question in tonight, you know, in terms of community policing, because that's obviously an important thing. I'm guessing the answer is yes to this one. Gala Hill will have a community officer, but a bit more information, Nikki.
Gala Hill was actually covered by our Kilo Bravo officers. The division is comes up into 3 subdivisions. So Paisley is Kilo Alpha, which is KA. Then we've got Kilo Bravo, which is based over in Johnston and Renfrew. And then we've got Kilo Charlie down in Inverclyde, Port Glasgow area. So yes, there will be a community officer for Gala Hill. Unfortunately, I don't know who it is off the top of my head because it's Kilo Bravo and I work out of Kilo Alpha, but I can certainly get the information for the lady that asked and hopefully get it to her.
Yeah, that'd be great. We can post that up.
Yeah, we see the guys stoating about in the high street, Nikki, and they're now and again they've got their bikes. Do you get the luxury of a bike?
Yeah, we've got bikes here down at Ferguson Park.
Yeah. No, we're getting a bit superficial with the questions here.
But it's, I think, you know, I mean, Paisley, the law, I guess, and Paisley and being at a sensible level, you know, we want the town to prosper. And that's one of the things that Paisley Community Trust is really pushing at, you know, trying to, particularly our high street, to prosper and, you know, people, you know, behaving themselves and the role that the police have in the community is fairly vital, isn't it? You know, where does Paisley need to perhaps consider, and what are some of the things that we need to kind of work on from a sort of law and order point of view, Nikki?
I think we always try and tackle the antisocial behaviour, you know, in and around Paisley. I mean, there's always going to be the youth generation of the day, and you know, always get complaints about maybe street drinking and folk just maybe causing a general annoyance. So it is something that we always try and tackle as the antisocial behaviour over Paisley.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting questions coming in, Andy, on the theme of is crime going up or down during COVID? Have you noticed any difference?
I can't specifically say that I've noticed a major difference. I mean, we still do get crime, regardless of during COVID pandemic or not. We still are dealing with crime on a regular basis.
Yeah. And going back to speaking to John, I mean, on a light-hearted bit of banter about where our bonfires were. Do you remember all that going on, Nikki, when you were younger and running into stealing doors and stuff?
Never stole a door, Gary, ever. No, but I do remember there was a bonfire always just up on my street, actually, just up the road from where I stayed, and all the boys would go about with the trolleys, getting all the wood and anything that anyone left out their back gate, for them to take for the bonnie. But you don't, now that you're older, you don't realise actually how dangerous it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do remember one specific time at one of the boys had a firework and he ended up in the hospital because the way he was holding it, it actually went through his leg. So yeah, it was very dangerous. But you're young and you think you're invincible, don't you?
Yeah, and we forget as well, Andy and Nikki, with the connotations of penny for the guy are forgotten. We used to do penny for the guy. Can you imagine? I don't know if that still happens.
Well, on you go, Nikki.
No, it was just penny for the guy. I remember when I was about 18 and a wee boy outside the shop asked me penny for the guy, Mrs. And I was like, Mrs. I'm only 18. But no, Bonnie gives a penny for the guy. But no, I've not seen that in a long time.
Guy Fawkes, I know the last man to walk into Parliament with honourable intentions.
No, I absolutely, Andy.
It's often been said, and I did notice that I think it was on Twitter actually, Nikki, is that the Renfrewshire police force have got a bit of a recruitment drive on right now, and I guess what was it that attracted you into policing, and if you've got a big recruitment drive on right now, would you recommend it? What's the sort of message to anyone that's maybe thinking about joining the boys and girls in blue?
I think the drive for me was just wanting to help people. If you want to help people and keep others safe and make a difference in people's life, then I would say it is the job for you. Every day is different. There's no 2 days the same in the police. It can be very challenging, but it is an enjoyable job, and you meet a great bunch of people as well working alongside it, and it is good. So,
yeah. And of course, wide and varied, Nikki, but of course we're on tonight to talk about the lead up to Bonfire Night, or whatever it's called now, Guy Fawkes Night. What's your particular message from the police for the public?
Well, we would always encourage everyone, to keep safe. That's the most important message. Obviously, keeping in mind as well that it is an offence to have in your possession, if you're under 18, any fireworks. It's also an offence to sell fireworks to anyone under the age of 18, and it would be an offence to let off fireworks or cause deliberate fires in a public area. So if you are thinking about using fireworks in your back garden, it's just echoing what John was saying, really, ensuring that you're wearing the appropriate clothing and that you're keeping yourself safe and doing it properly. And always remember your neighbours as well, as we spoke about the vulnerable, the animals. You don't want to cause any unnecessary suffering to the animals. On Bonfire Night in particular, you can only let fireworks off up until midnight. Any time after that is classed as an offence.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you were talking about that earlier, Andy, the 1:30 a.m. firework bans.
Absolutely. We were watching the telly last night, just starting to watch the whole presidential election thing start, and about 1:30 in the morning, one after the other, 2 really loud bangs, fireworks going off, and you just think, we had one year we had someone set off, these boxes of fireworks that you just light one taper and 20 fireworks will go off one after that. They put it in the middle of the street and just set fire and ran away. That was at goodness knows whatever time in the morning as well. So I don't know about damage to cars and stuff like that, but ultimately, it's a call goes into Mill Street. You guys need to come out and find out what went on, and that's putting you in danger for no good reason at all. So, to both yourself and all your colleagues, Nicky, and obviously John and all his crew team, stay safe tomorrow night. It's a really vital service that you provide. I don't think we're thankful enough for all the hard work that you and your team do. But I guess on behalf of the community, thank you for your service, and make sure you're safe tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Andy, Gary.
Yeah, and appreciate you coming on the show, Nicky. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Thanks.
See you later. Bye.
See you later on. Bye now. Bye-bye.
And great messages, fantastic messages, but just seeing a wee at the corner of my eye, and a comment from Terry. Of course, it is good fun. It's supposed to be good fun, and if it's done safely and with others in mind,
absolutely,
it is great fun. It's been standing out in the back with a wee sparkler and going, "Hey, I can write my name."
Aye, absolutely. I think Terry, you're absolutely spot on. And back in when we used to go to bonfires, it would pull the community together.
Yeah.
And that was vital. I don't know what tomorrow's going to be like. And John mentioned it's a step into the unknown, because obviously Paisley and the events team in Paisley, and we saw the firework display from I think 2014 or 2015. In terms of putting on a show with an organised event, if the weather's right and it's safe for everyone, Paisley's firework display is just brilliant. It's out of this world.
Yeah.
And with that not happening, Gary, you think that there's maybe going to be a few more kind of local bonfire nights and firework displays in people's gardens or parks or whatever it might be. And it's great. It'll pull the community together. It'll pull the folk together, particularly at this difficult time. And I guess the only message is be sensible, be safe, follow the guidelines. We've got a wee video here, Gary, that you'd sent through. So let me just click this button. I'm wondering if we'll still be on the screen when it plays, but I'm going to click it anyway, Gary.
Okay.
We can see that. There's no audio on it, Gary.
Good. So this is just to reinforce the message from the police. And I mean, Andy, as you said, be sensible, have fun. Talk to people that you maybe haven't seen in a while, and all these big giant gatherings are great, but you don't get to meet your neighbours. You don't get to meet the guys down the road that you haven't spoke to for ages. So if you're, I was just wondering, Terry, while you're on there, is Ferguson got a small gathering planned for tomorrow night down in Ferguson? It'd be good to know if you have.
If they get something planned, and I guess if you've got something planned and it's sensible folk in charge of it, then I guess it'd be good to know, and we can put that out there. But maybe I don't want to speak against the the advice of the fire services as well. It's a balance that we need to get, and I think that's really important. Being safe, and I always feel sorry for the Dougs. At this time of year as well, because some of the poor dogs don't know what's going on.
They don't.
And whizzies and noises that go on, they can be awful terrified.
It's not a natural thing, Andy, setting off rockets. And you hear it sometimes and you think it's outside your window.
Aye, you wonder what's going on there. But well, listen, hopefully, folks, there's been a good message in there. It was fantastic to have PC Nicky Glasgow on and John Paul from our emergency services, and we know that they look after us. So I think the very least we can do is just be aware of that and be safe and sensible as best we can. So
and if you are having a wee this thing out the back or setting off some Catherine wheels or rockets, then have fun. Follow Terry's advice.
That's tomorrow night. Next week, Gary, we're going to talk about next week and maybe another special event that we've got planned.
Aye, possibly. But next week, it's crept up in me, Andy, and I recognise the date being 11th to 11th, and we're having a Remembrance Day special. I know it's not on the Sunday. I know it won't be at 11 a.m, but we think it's really important to pay due respect on the 11th of November, and we're going to do that. So we've got a wee bit of work to do to pull it together. But we're having a remembrance special. I hope everyone can tune in.
special on the 11th. And if anyone would like to take part, so if you've been in the armed forces, if you've served in the armed forces, or if you've got any stories that you think would be good to come on and tell us about maybe a relation or something, we'd be delighted to hear from you. So it's a remembrance special, the 11th of the 11th, and next week. So hopefully we can make sure that that's a good show. And also, and I was telling Gary about this earlier on, a wee bit of kind of breaking news. Now, folks, we were obviously, for good reason, as we mentioned at the start of the show, that we were unable to come on last week, which was going to be our Halloween special. And we had a fantastic guest lined up, as you know, in the form of David Roy from Dark Side Tours in Paisley. And David has agreed to join us on a very special Friday the 13th special. Now, we don't usually go out on Friday. We usually go out on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. But we thought, given the fact it's Friday the 13th and he's got some spooky stories lined up for us, we thought that would be great. So we're going to be doing a Friday the 13th special with some scary stories. And do you know what? We might even have some dressing up if the mood calls for it, but we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how it goes. That's something, a double bill. There's nothing on Friday, 8 o'clock anyway, Andy, is there?
What's on? Is it Casualty or Holby City or something?
I think we're the hour before Gogglebox. So
I can't ever imagine that the Paisley Community Chat Show would ever make Gogglebox, oh Gary.
Oh, have you watched Gogglebox?
I can imagine Paul Stewart sitting at home commentating, going, what are they boys all about?
That's their own version of it. I think we've got that. I think we've got that going on.
We have, absolutely. We've got so we've got some of our comments coming in. Jackie, good to see you again for next week, Friday, Fright Night from Claire. I'm guessing it's Heather's going to dress up at the Star Project.
Oh, it'll be Heather. Aye,
we want to make sure that we see pictures, and we're in between Corey apparently as well. So all
we'll beat Corey. Corey's rubbish now, Andy. I know you're a big fan of Corey, but it's rubbish now.
I'm a secret Corey fan.
No anymore. It's you're not a secret Corey fan, and I'm not a secret door knocker. If you know what I mean.
I think I know what you mean, Gary. Yeah. Well, we'll move on from that one, Gary.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
It was you that stole the doors. Or was it somebody else that stole the doors in Thrushcraig's?
It was.
You just put the match down, Gary.
None of the closest had doors on them.
Well, listen, folks, thanks so much for joining us again. Really appreciate you all the support that you gave us for over the last week. So that's been brilliant. We look forward to seeing you next week for a Remembrance special. Keep in touch, and I guess, stay safe tomorrow night.
Stay safe, have fun. Thanks for the support, guys. Thank you so much. Good night.
Bye.